Good evening, Minnesota Twins fans. Thank you so much for joining a new episode of Twins Spotlight. We had 3 episodes last week, and all were fantastic. We got 3 episodes scheduled for this week, so be sure to check out twinsdaily.com to find out who and when and different times and things like that. But it's a lot of fun, and spring training's getting underway. Pitchers and catchers reported. Today, position players reported. So a lot going on. Twins Daily has been pretty busy in terms of having anywhere from 3 to 8 articles a day. So be sure to check that out, and we'll keep you going. But without further ado, on tonight's Spotlight, we're going to bring in, and we're going to highlight that, of course, Twins prospect Trey Cabbage. Now, Trey was a draft pick with the Twins in 2015. He split 2019 between Cedar Rapids and Fort Myers. Excuse me. And we'll talk to him a little bit about a strange 2020 season and his plans for the 2021 season. So without further ado, let's bring in the star of tonight's show, Trey Cabbage. Trey, how are you?
Good, man. How about you?
I'm doing well. You mentioned that you're in Atlanta. Is that kind of where you spend your off season? I know you played a lot of ball there in your, I guess, amateur days.
Yeah, I when everything gets cranked up and training full time, I come down here and stay. I'm actually in Alpharetta, but pretty much right in Atlanta. And then I train down here in a place in Norcross, and I hit at a place in Chamblee, and then this is basically what I do when it's full time, ready to go, like the last 3 months before spring training.
Okay. Well, let's start with 2020. A year ago, I know you were just kind of reporting to spring training, getting those physicals done and all of that. I think you had one workout maybe, and then you get the news. So in your, I guess, telling your angle or your perspective of the story, what happened in spring training and how did you find the news? And what was your reaction at that time?
Yeah, well, I lived there last off season, so I had been there for a little while. So it kind of was, I feel like I'd been there for a pretty good bit and had some workouts and got kind of into the flow of everything. But some guys had been there for like 4 days. We had like 11 innings of baseball in 2020. We had like 2 4-inning inter squads and a 3-inning. And then I remember it was a Thursday. They brought us in like almost like an emergency meeting. Like, if you can get back to the academy for the meeting, get back and meet in Champions Hall. We had, it was one of those like we don't really know what's going on type deals. We're gonna take Friday off and then regroup Saturday as we get more information about how the virus was coming in. I would say about noon on Friday on that off day. They sent out a mass text and call and was like, if you can come get your gear and if you can get home, we're sending you home. There wasn't like, all right, we're kind of going to fill this out. And then there was like a slow decrease in action. No, it was literally a drop of a hat. We're sending everybody home. So
what was your timeline there? I assume you probably had to pack up your things that were in Fort Myers. Did you stay there for a while or did you head back home at that point?
I actually had my girlfriend visiting. So we finished out the trip when she was there for, I think it was like 6 more days we stayed there. And then once she left, I went home. But, other than that, if it wasn't for that, I'd have been home probably 2 days after that. I probably drove home on that Saturday. So, there were – because once they closed the facilities, like I couldn't get back in. It wasn't like I could stay there and work out, so I needed somewhere to go to be able to get some work in.
So, what was kind of what you did? You got home. I assume you did. I mean, none of us knew if you were talking about a week, 2 weeks, or 2 months. Ultimately it was the whole season. What were you able to do right away, and maybe what weren't you able to do?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we thought it was going to be – I was convinced it's like, all right, 2 weeks, a month, maybe we'll be back. So I went home, worked out at the house, went and hit a place near home, and then a place in Knoxville, kind of stayed ready. We did some live ABs at a high school in Knoxville, and we were pretty much convinced, like, okay, we were going to go back. And then as time went on, it was like, all right, what are we doing? What are we going to go back? Is kind of seemed like nobody was coming up with any ideas. So it kind of got stagnant. And then finally, when they canceled our season in July, like, I pretty much shut down from baseball and was just working out weight-wise. Got a job and kind of kept training, but I took time away from baseball just to like let the body relax and heal and stuff like that, and then picked it back up once I got down here.
For sure. Now, those listening live, please feel free if you've got questions for Trey. Please feel free to leave them in the comments, and we'll be sure to answer those as we get them. But so during that time, were you able to were you in fairly frequent communication with whether it's a hitting coach or a coordinator, or was there any sort of plan? Because I know everyone was a little different with wherever they went.
Yeah, I mean, we had the strength coaches and the trainers were checking in with us. The trainer was like every day, like what did we do, workout wise, running wise, baseball wise, and then the strength coaches would check in at least once a week, checking on weight, how the week went from a weightlifting standpoint, you know, and then the baseball coaches were probably about every 2 weeks we would have some kind of a Zoom meeting or something like that we would send video in increments of whatever we were doing, whatever defensive work or hitting in the cage or whatever we got into. But it was, I mean, we were in pretty consistent communication, but it was also like, are we just kind of working to stay hot, or are we kind of drilling because we didn't know if it was going to be, all right, we're not going to play, so this is time to work on something, or if it was, you know, just a time to stay hot, ready to go back. So. I think you muted yourself there, boss. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I do that at least once a show. Don't be surprised if it happens again. Sorry, everybody. Yeah, my question was kind of, you know, once you found out there was no season, like you said, you kind of took a little time off. When did you kind of get started back up again? And what did that mean? I guess things probably started opening a little bit. Were you able to, you know, play catch with other guys? I know there's other pro guys from your area. What were things that were able to keep you busy?
Like I said, over the summer before that was canceled, we'd kind of built some groups that were taking live ABs and stuff like that. So I built some connections. One of the guys that went down and played in Australia in the ABL was from Knoxville. Like I took a couple live at bats off of him on 2 different occasions as we were getting back into it. I went to Canada to spend Christmas with my girlfriend. So like there wasn't much baseball going on up there. I didn't take my gear, obviously. So I kind of used that as a little bit more of a just weight training and running time, because it seemed like in past off seasons I had started hitting too early, and I would get to spring training and feel great. And as spring training went on, I would start to kind of lose the feel, lose the rhythm. And then when opening day would come around, I'd kind of be trying to searching to find it. So this year I was like, well, if I just move everything back a month, then I should be clicking right as opening day comes. And of course, opening day has been moved back at least a month. So
at least a month, yeah. What a challenge!
But yeah, I mean, like I said,
go ahead.
Like I said, once I came back and I was getting ready to come down here, I hit a few times in Knoxville, and it was like obviously arm BP and hitting off the machine and stuff like that. Now it's getting more like live AB time. I know I've got live AB set up Thursday. So, you know, you didn't want to rush back into it because we still didn't know like when we would report. But now that we kind of have a start date, it's, you know, we're getting ready. We're cranking it up and getting ready to go. So.
No, I may or may not have heard that last summer you even got some live ABs against some major league pitching potentially, or at least some guys that were in that neighborhood of caliber.
Yeah. Mike Miner was he would come to Knoxville every now and then and throw some beeps. We'd have live ABs off of him. Nick Senzel and Lane Thomas are both in the big leagues for the Reds and the Cardinals. They're from Knoxville. So like we would have those guys, they basically put it all together. Obviously they had the high schools to go to. And then one of my other buddies in the Red Sox organization would catch and take ABs. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't like we were just going out there messing around. It was good competitive ABs and stuff like that. Brett Martin with the Rangers, he was there too. And then we had, you know, multiple other minor league guys. Colton Hawk was there, you know. So we had good guys that were throwing. It wasn't like we were just trying to get and scrapping together what we could and taking some swings. It was good and competitive. So I felt like we would have, if there would have been a minor league season, we'd have been ready to roll too, because we'd been challenging each other every week. So, well,
that's kind of what I was getting at is, you know, I mean, you're going there, but you're getting an opportunity to learn from other guys from other organizations and kind of mesh it all into your game. So as you know, taking what you've learned from your coaches over the time and Zoom meetings or whatever, what were a couple of your focus areas in terms of development as you were preparing for 2020?
Yeah, I I was working a lot last offseason going into 2020 to like learn how to pull the ball and like keep it true. I had a lot of trouble in 2019. If I would pull the ball, I would have a lot of top spin, or I would like hook it towards the line. So I was learning different approaches, how those guys would kind of go into the cage and what they would do pregame and stuff like that, what their routines, like taking little tidbits here and there and just to add it to my my routine and my arsenal, just to see, you know, kind of what worked and what didn't, and just trying to get better each day, because, you know, there may be some things that some guy does that you haven't seen before, and you may take it and it make all the difference. So, but, you know, I learned a lot of stuff like routine based from those guys, and then also mentally, like how they approached like each day, and like what they would do in the live ABs when we would take, like what they would look for in certain counts. Like if they had faced where Lane and Nick had faced Mike a few times, like what they looked for, like what they sat on, or just completely wiped out of on his pitches and stuff like that. So just kind of learning the approach and learning the game from those guys who've been around it. So.
Absolutely. All right, I want to go back and just kind of, you know, growing up in Tennessee, what was your kind of earliest I don't know, introduction to baseball? I mean, is it just something you've always done, and what kind of gave you that love of the game initially, early?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I don't even remember starting to play. I'm pretty sure my pops handed me a stick and was rolling balls to me as soon as I could stand up. So I was kind of with my mom playing softball and my dad playing college baseball. You know, you have two parents that play college sports. It's going to kind of be expected. So, you know, they signed me up early. They actually I got into a t-ball league. I was actually under the age requirement. You're supposed to be 4, and they got me in a year early. And then, you know, I love to play. That's the thing. I love to go out and play anything in the yard, from football to basketball to baseball. And then, you know, having my folks there would always, whenever we'd come in from school, we'd go out in the yard and play, whether it was wiffle ball or tennis ball, baseball, or actual baseball on it, like at the city park or something like that. Like, we were always playing something, no matter what season it was. And it's just that competitive nature that we had. You know, that's what made it fun. Like, I play to play for the love of the game, but I play to win and play to compete. And that's one thing they instilled in me. And, you know, I think it's made all the difference. So,
yeah, having met your parents, I would imagine those backyard wiffle ball games got a little intense at times.
Oh yeah. There were some hard feelings. Going in when it got dark, there were some grudge matches going on. So
I bet. Kind of want to continue on that. I know we'll talk more about baseball, but, you know, I know, like you said, playing other sports as well. I know you were a 3-sport guy in high school, and again, those listening, scouts love that. From everything I've heard, being a 3-sport athlete, what did you find about being a 3-sport guy throughout high school to that's kind of carried into pro ball?
Well, I guess this has went on long enough. I was actually only a 2-sport guy in high school. I didn't play football, but I loved how that kind of just rolled on for like 5 years. Now, I didn't play football when I was in high school, so I was only basketball, baseball. But no, honestly, that was one of the kind of the surprising things when I first started getting scouted by pro scouts, is like they came and watched me play basketball. And I didn't really understand why, but they explained it was like they wanted to see that I wasn't just a baseball player, that was also, I had athletic ability, that I could, you know, I wasn't just like pigeonholed into one sport, that I was an athlete. So, yeah, I mean, playing other sports, definitely, you're definitely in a different shape going into each sport. Like, basketball shape's different than baseball. And, like, you know, obviously those guys that would play football and then come into basketball practice, there was a lot more up and down in basketball. So it's different shapes for each sport, but I feel like it gave me a lot more flexibility and durability to go along with, you know, having to be ready for each and transitioning so quick. Because usually baseball was like right as maybe 5 or 6 days after the basketball season would end, we would roll right into baseball. So,
what positions did you play in basketball? Were you an inside guy, or were you knocking down threes?
No, I was an inside guy, especially my senior year. My junior year, I got out and shot a little bit, but I played around the glass a lot more as a senior. My junior and senior year, all I wanted to do was like get boards and dunk on people. So,
well, yeah. we got a comment here from someone. I think you may or may not know this person. It's Tyler W. I've seen this man do some ridiculous dunks on the court. Now, everyone, I mean, I think you became pretty popular early with the dunk that broke the backboard. That one was all over the internet. And we showed that a lot when we were drafted. But, I mean, are you guys playing some pickup games, or is that something you're not able to talk about because you're probably not supposed to?
I mean, we've played some pickup games every now and then. Yeah, Wells has actually got a smooth stroke. We were playing like a 3-on-3 game one time, and I just knew that, him being 6'8", I figured he'd be around the rack a lot more. He would bounce out and just knock down threes, and it kind of was getting on my nerves. And he's so long when he was playing defense. When I would drive on him, it was like 2 steps, and he could cut you off. So but yeah, we like to get at, especially like we were just warming up and everything. We like to get after it and throw down a few dunks. But yeah.
So who are the other top basketball players in the Twin system? Who else has some game?
I haven't played that much. We played like that was usually our little group was like me and Badu and Kirilov and Wells and Balazovic. We played a little bit. Seth Gray can hoop a little bit. Much as I hate to admit it, he can hoop a little bit. I know Nick Gordon and Lamont used to go play all the time. Lamont talks a big game, so he when he was with us, he used to always talk about going. So I would say they can play a little bit. But like I said, I hadn't played that much with those guys, so I don't really know.
All right. Well, thank you for the comment there, Tyler W. That's Tyler Wells, of course, of the Baltimore Orioles, big league camp. Things are going well for you there, Tyler. Trey, I want to transition to that. I mean, you're seeing, like you said, Lamont get traded, Tyler, Akil, Rule 5. Some guys you played with getting that call last year. How do you feel about that? I mean, you got to be excited for them as friends, but at the same time, it has to drive you at the same time, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the thing is like we all have that common goal. We always want to get there. No, I actually when Wells got Rule 5, I called him like, dude, I'm gonna miss you. This is like I was excited for him. I was fired up, but it was like, dang, that's one of my best friends. Like I'm gonna be playing against him now. I won't get to see him as much, but no, like. Blankenhorn made his big league debut this year. Like he was my roommate in rookie ball. So no, it's exciting. We've all got that common goal. So when you got one of your buddies get that call, it's motivation, but it's also like pure excitement. You want to give them a shout out and shoot them a text and, congratulate them for like putting in all the hard work that they've got and having it pay off. So I'm close with Kirilov, and Kirilov got his debut last year too. I shot him a text. We used to hang out a lot when we were in Cedar Rapids and E-Town, and I've been over to his house and him to mine. So just seeing those guys that you've played with, but especially those guys you're tight with, get that call, like it's motivating, but it's exciting too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to encourage any other questions or comments in the chat room. I've got some other questions to come, but I'm just going to jump into the question just to encourage that. Mike asks, do you think you were able to advance your game last year, or are you kind of feeling like you're at the same place you would have been at this point last year? It's a tough question because it's hard to answer. It's hard to know. But do you feel like you've been able to do anything over the last year to kind of push the envelope this spring?
Yeah, like I said, we were taking those live ABs in Knoxville with the group that we had. I feel like I made some pretty good strides. Mentally, I feel like I picked up on a lot of things that I can apply to my approach and can help me grow at the plate from a discipline and a vision standpoint. So now I feel like I got better. I mean, that's what we got to do. If I would have been in the same place as I was, then I would probably be hurting for a spot. But yeah, I feel like I've gotten better. I feel like I've made some strides, and as these live ABs are coming up this week, and as we go forward, we'll really be able to see where I'm at. So,
great question, Mike. Thank you for that. And again, it's kind of a tough one to answer, and I'm sure that's a question a lot of people are wondering. I want to go back again. We talked about your basketball time, but what about your youth baseball? And I know, or obviously, you would tell a little bit about your high school career, but the follow up to that would be: I know you played on some. I don't know. It was area code teams, perfect games, national types of things. Talk a little bit about that exposure.
Yeah, I'm actually in that house of the team that I played for. The guy that kind of ran the little organization, like he opens it up to us as if we needed like an off-season home. Like especially for me, where the place that I train is 4 hours from my parents' house, so I needed somewhere to stay, and he opens it up to us. We had a lot of guys go to those showcases for Perfect Game while we played here, but I never went to any of those showcases. We did the tournaments, so it was like perfect game tournaments was what really got me seen, I guess you could say. But yeah, we really opened a lot of doors, and I wouldn't be playing pro ball. I would have not even got looks if it wasn't coming out here and playing for the Roadrunners. So it put me in a good position to make an extra step or a further step in my career. So.
How about on your high school team? Were you playing third? Were you playing short? Were you pitching? Were you kind of? I mean, it's one of those things where everybody pitches, right? But you had some good competition in that area.
Yeah, I played short for the majority of the time. I didn't pitch as much my senior year. Kind of had the agreement of where I was getting scouted with my head coach. Like I would kind of close more than anything. I started a few games, but we had more than enough arms at that point that I would come in relief, maybe a couple starts here and there, but most of the time I was playing short.
So I think a question a lot of people. I know you committed to Tennessee. When did you do that? Was it junior year or was it before?
Yeah,
that?
it was in the fall of my junior year.
Okay. What strictly speaking to the college recruitment process, were you talking to a lot of coaches and obviously being from that area, was Tennessee an easy choice for you at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to stay close to home. Like that's the dream was, especially being 30 minutes from the campus at most, like 30 minutes probably to the parking lot of the baseball field was how quick you get there from my house. So yeah, I wanted to be close. I could see my family, see my folks. Where I committed so early, I would have to talk to coaches. They couldn't necessarily talk to me unless it was by email. So at that point, I had maybe like 6 offers. If I would have waited longer, I think it was like July 1st or whatever of going into your senior years when they can start calling you, something like that. I don't remember the exact date. So like by that point, I hoped I would have had more coaches calling. Where I committed so early, like everything just basically cooled off after that fall.
Sorry about that. I don't know if you could hear that audio. It wasn't intentional. Pro scouts, where did you kind of start seeing them showing up? Did you talk to a lot, or were maybe some of your coaches or your summer ball coaches maybe, I don't want to say shielding you from some of that, but maybe helping you through that process?
No, I mean, those pro scouts, they would come to the games and you would see them outside. Like you'd be grabbing your stuff and walking to the car and they would come up and introduce themselves. A lot of that was the second year I played with the Roadrunners. So summer 2014. Yeah, they would see you play and then they would come up and talk to you and introduce themselves and kind of give you their spiel. And, that was pretty exciting. A lot of that was the second year. First year was more college looks, and then the second year was more pro looks. And then that's when I started to get the idea that I might be able to play pro ball and, try to.
Then came the draft. Tell me a little bit about draft day. 4th round.
Mm-hmm.
So day 2.
Yep.
What were you kind of hearing going into the draft? And, tell me a little bit about the day of the draft for you and whether it's, were you excited or just trying to stay calm, or what was that atmosphere like?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. Honestly, it was like the first day I was ranked like 72 or something like that. So, and I didn't know what to expect. So I was looking and I was thinking maybe I would go in the very late picks of the first day. So I stayed up and watched the whole draft on the first day all the way till like 11:30 or midnight or whenever it was. And I kind of went to bed kind of upset, kind of disappointed. And it was kind of a motivating thing when I got picked on the second day. I was super excited, but I was wanting to show that I could have been on the first day, but very blessed to be picked where I was. And it was just, it was pure excitement. My pops was, when the Twins pick came up on the second day, he was like, hey, let's just video this just for giggles. And I was like, all right. So I pulled my phone out and started video on the iPad. And that's when I got my name called, and it was exciting.
Who are you with? Just the 3 of you, or were there others around?
No, my pops was off because like teaching school, he was off for summer, and my mom was at work. We had to call her and tell her. So.
Okay, I imagine it was pretty exciting, but you'll recognize this. I'm just going to cue it up for you here. A question from Dren Cab. What is your favorite baseball memory? This is the parents of Trey.
Yeah, that's my folks. Geez, that's
And hello, by the way.
That's loaded. Shoot, I don't know. I mean, it could be like one of the first home runs I hit as a kid. I don't know. Draft day was pretty special. I would say it's either probably draft day or securing playoffs with Cedar Rapids and E-Town and Fort Myers, and stuff like that. Like playing in those atmospheres and having the camaraderie of the teammates and stuff like that. Like you don't beat stuff like that, especially fighting with your guys for so long and then getting into the playoffs and having a chance to play for a ring. Like that's what you play for. So got to be something like that.
Absolutely. And great question, of course. Wanted to ask you a little bit, your transition to pro ball. What were the biggest adjustments? I imagine, you had played away from home a little bit in the summers and, but it's still every day. What were some of the biggest adjustments for you jumping to pro ball at, 17 or 18 years old?
Yeah. I wish I'd have known more about like taking care of my body back then. Now I can't even get out of bed without popping and cracking and having to stretch to go get coffee.
Same.
Yeah, at 18, I remember walking out there just kind of popping my back, cracking my neck, and like stretch my hamstrings a few times. Like, all right, let's get ready to go. Now, got a full 45-minute routine to warm myself up. Hot tub, shower, band stretches, foam rolls, stuff like that. I wish I'd have known more about recovery and getting loose and taking care of my body pre and post game. At that age, especially because like the game's the same. Obviously, it gets faster as you move up, but if you don't take care of your body, you can easily get swallowed up by the grind.
All right, we are getting some deep, hard-hitting questions in here. Again, someone I believe the Cottom family. Steak, burgers, or wings?
Well, if he's cooking, it's going to be a tough choice. I'm going to have to say steak.
Okay. Medium, well done.
Medium rare.
Red?
Medium
rare. All right.
If it's not bleeding, I don't want
it. All right. I'm going to cue this up real quick as well. We're going to go to just to go back to your glory days. Well, hopefully there's more to come, but yeah. This is one of those memories that we're just going to play it here and let people watch. So this is your senior year?
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to let this play quick. I don't know if people will hear the audio or not, but guy takes the shot from the outside and misses. But look what. And what happens?
I broke the rim somehow. When I pulled down on the rim, the ball bearing shot out of the side and it got stuck hanging down there. So
what ended up happening after this? I know this video became pretty viral. Did the game just end, or were they able to fix it at the time?
They kind of Jimmy rigged it the ref, I thought I got teed up because he blew a long whistle and everything like that, and they just kind of pointed at it. So I had to figure out how to fix it. So I went under it, jumped up and tried to hit the bottom, and it wouldn't really go anywhere. So finally I just jumped up there and kind of hung on it again until it bounced back up to where it was supposed to be. But then it was super loose for the whole second quarter, and then the one of our assistant principal and I think our ag teacher jumped up there on ladders, took the thing off, took it to our locker room, went and got a rim from the top deck off one of the side goals and put it on there, and it was a 45-minute halftime, and it was a rough second quarter because every time you shot it, it was like it was hitting a trampoline because the rim was so loose.
I can about imagine. I can imagine, but what a memory! I'm sure that's one you'll have for a while.
Oh yeah, that was my senior year gift. That was my senior night gift. Was the rim.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's fantastic. All right, so let's start thinking. We're at about a half an hour here, and I always tell people my goal for these is 20 minutes, but I can never keep them that short. So as you're looking to 2021, are you a goal guy? Do you write down goals? Do you have some in your head? Are there certain areas that you are just saying, this is where I want to get better? Or is it some combination? Because I'll say this, in 2019, everyone says you've got power potential, but it definitely arrived in 2019. Are you looking at number of home runs, or, does any of that do you jot it down? That's a long-winded question of saying, hey, you got any goals?
Yeah, of course I have goals. I I don't like to put like a number on them a lot of times. Like I'd love to tell you, yeah, I'd like to hit, 2 whatever and how many ever homers, 20 something homers. But like if I sit there and do that and put the number in my head and I get to July or August and I don't have that many, then I start pressing, then all that does is just kind of make me press and overthink and stress and stuff like that. As long as I go out there and try to win every at bat, win every pitch, do the most damage, swing with an intent, always get the A swing off. I'm just trying to hit the ball hard. I'm trying to take more pitches and walk a little bit more, be a little bit more disciplined at the plate. I feel like I hit the ball hard enough that if I just hit it more often and swing it less bad pitches, then the average and the home runs they'll show up. So I just, as long as I can put together better at bats and have better discipline, then I feel like the numbers will follow.
Absolutely. Let's queue up another video and kind of get your thoughts on this one. Again, I'm kind of doing this top of head and that kind of thing, but we'll see how it looks. Let's bring this in and I'm going to make this large and we're going to rewind that.
Yeah, that one was sweet because the third baseman in that game was one of the guys that I played with here with the Roadrunners. So it was kind of one of those bragging rights homers.
I couldn't hear that. The volume was way too loud on mine. But what was your thought on that homer?
Oh, I was saying that was a sweet memory because the guy that was playing third for Beloit that night was one of the guys that I played with here with the Roadrunners, Kobe Vance. So it was kind of one of those bragging right homers because, of course, it's like we met, we went and get something to eat, and we're talking, and obviously we wanted to have a good series, and it was just where I went deep there. It was exciting because he raked that series. I think he hit like over 500, had a couple doubles, and so me going deep, I kind of caught back up a little bit.
Yeah, and I'm guessing maybe things were quiet when you rounded third.
Oh yeah, we just kind of looked at each other. It was just like, so.
Yeah.
just a little smirk on both ends.
All right, we got the hard-hitting question right here. You never know what questions you're going to get. Seb writes in and asks this one. What's been your greatest failure that you have learned the most from? How's that for deep thinking here? Also, 2021.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, tie that in on the end.
Yeah.
Shoot. Honestly, I broke team rules in 2019 and got suspended for a little while. I won't go any further into that, but yeah, I mean, I missed 12 games because of that. And, that's a lot of ABs and just wasn't like taking care of business and wasn't being responsible enough to take care of business and go out and do the things that I should every single day. And, I had to learn from that. Like it was miserable, like watching my guys go out and play every day and work their hind ends off. And I just kind of had to sit and watch. It was, it was a good kick in the ego, and I needed that. It was a humbling thing, and it really made me realize, well, not getting to play, I don't really have much use in that aspect. So that's why I was, that's a lesson I've taken, to take everything more serious and not take it for granted too. So.
No, that's a great point, and I appreciate your honesty. And I guess they speak a lot about accountability, and obviously you kind of learn from that, which is that's part of the development. I mean, yeah. You got to live and learn here. So, all right, with that, I guess I've got my questions answered. We got the comments answered. Any final thoughts? I mean, what do you? Are there things you're looking forward to during the season? Maybe whether it's I don't know, going back to Cedar Rapids. I'm guessing Wichita is probably a little closer to Tennessee, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly distance-wise what the distance is from either one, but yeah, I'd like to. I just want to play, man. Like me and Amelia were taking a walk today. And we were walking around. We ended up stumbling onto a high school campus right back here, and there was a high school game going on. I was just sitting there watching, and I was like, God, I just can't wait to play. Guys have been training and working out and hitting in the cage and taking lives and hitting off the machine. It's just we just want to play, man. It's just finally to get back and actually play a competitive game. And like I was telling her, I was like, I'd do a lot of stuff just to put on a pair of baseball pants right now. just to go out and be able to play. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, you think about that competitive game. It's been September of 2019, and maybe August because September is just Labor Day weekend.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what it's just going through training and stuff like that. I had a couple guys I was talking to. I was like, I just can't wait to get back out there. And they were the same way, because I hate to say it, but it gets boring just working out over and over, because it's like you're working and you're chipping away, but you don't actually get to go out and do what, you feel like you were designed to do. You're working out to get ready to play. It's like getting to play is the prize. And, we got stripped of that. So.
Right. Well, hopefully, and it's nice to see, you're starting a month late, but it sounds like the season will go a little longer as well. So hopefully a bunch of at-bats can be made up. And I'll thank you so much for taking time tonight. Thank you for being flexible and making it work. And I, again, appreciate the honesty, the stories. It's been a lot of fun catching up to you again. And hopefully I'll see you. I'm hoping to make a trip to Wichita this summer, maybe. And maybe I'll see you there. But again, appreciate everything. Appreciate your time and your answers.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right. And again, thank you to everyone for listening. Appreciate that. You can watch this later on any of the Twins Daily social media platforms. And this will also be available on the Twins Daily podcast, wherever you download podcasts, very shortly. So with that, thanks for listening. Have a great night. And of course, go Twins.